Welcome to Stranger Connections, where I celebrate wonderfully weird people and quirky stories. I'm your curious beast and host, Lisa David Olson, the practically world-famous business humorist, interactive speaker, and connection queen. So reach out if you want me to help you reignite your team or event. Today is going to be fun. I've got a perpetually positive person, and her name is Lisa Zawrotny. Welcome to Stranger Connections.
Why, thank you. I do so love alliteration. Can you tell?
It's the Lisa show.
It is. I like that. Where's the cult jam? Are we?
Oh, surprise. They're coming in later.
Yay.
We just
Huzzah.
lost our younger audience, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
You're like, a what? A cult?
Huh? I don't know. Maybe we brought him back with that intrigue.
What if? What if? Okay. Everybody's going to start the Googles on the cult jam. Cool. Well, welcome. I know that you are a fellow podcaster and you are just all about prioritizing your passions, and people need to achieve more while doing less. And I also know that you love to share the wonders of simplicity. So your home is completely organized and you're never late for anything. Is that the way this works?
1,000%. Yours and no. Because life. Yeah, the positivity that we talk about in like Positively Productive and Positively Living, which is the name of my podcast, that is all about positive psychology, which is more of the, can we lean into our strengths and can we figure out what can be done, make the most of our lives, live more, which, that's a huge part of what you do. Humor, that's one, I know this is going to come as a shock to you, so I'm glad you're sitting down. Happens to be one of my character strengths and one of my biggest values. So
nice.
I live it, which is why I just want to give a shout out to the fact that you were on my podcast.
Oh.
What feels like ages ago,
Yes.
Episode 48. So you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I want to check out Lisa on the Lisa podcast. Yeah, definitely, because that was so much fun. You made me, I don't say made me, you encouraged me. I didn't really need that much encouragement, let's be honest. We totally did improv on my podcast and it was super fun.
Yes, absolutely fun. And I love that is the idea around your show, because we have enough of the podcast, I think, of people just yelling and yipping. So that's okay. That's a lot of what Facebook has turned into as well. Yeah. Or pretending that we're doing so great. I strive to be that exciting, successful person that I'm portraying on the faceplace. But of course, we don't say, oh, I'm wearing the same shirt 3 days in a row. That's not something I'm going to post, but it happens.
Right. Maybe. Well, you just turn it inside out and you got extended time.
Exactly. Do over. I know.
Exactly. Right. So yeah, keeping it real. No, I am the hottest mess of an organizer and productivity expert you will ever meet. And that's because we need to keep it real, because I mean, we're human and we also have other humans around us most of the time. And boy, don't they mess up the works. But
yes,
I love them to bits. They're my family and they're awesome. But yeah, we have to work together, and yeah, things go awry constantly. So I was reflecting on the fact that the way that I help with being more productive, which isn't about doing more, it's actually about doing less and living more, right? The way that I help with that is to set up the systems, right? To keep things simple, like you said about simplicity, in a way that you can do this when life is just tanking, right? Because most of the time, those productivity experts that you see out there, right, the organizing experts, they have these glorious systems, and you're like, well, if everything's going awesomely, I can totally do that. But the minute life takes a detour, they're all going, that nothing's happening. And so I'm like, how about we set up something where it can actually work during those times when life takes the hard left?
Sure. And what does that look like then? So what's the hard left might maybe look like? Maybe one of your clients, you have a general example.
Yeah, I mean, okay, a general example is someone who is going through a hard custody battle, and suddenly, a change up in how they have to schedule their entire lives, because now the court has said, okay, we're changing the entire schedule. I mean, and that, like, you talk about a domino effect. That's just
Mm-hmm.
one example, of so many. Trauma, grief, that's a huge part of it too. And I live it as well. You lose someone dear to you, or you go through a big change in your life. Even the best, most wonderful changes, right? Have a big impact on you. And for us to try to pretend that that doesn't have an impact on how productive we are, the energy that we have from day to day, that's, I feel like it's way too nearsighted and limited. So let's bring it all in, you know, bless this mess and figure it out.
Yes, right. That's well said. Who comes to you? What are your clients that come to you for your business that is positive? Nope. What is it? Owner of Positively Productive Systems?
The people that come to me are, in fact, the caregivers and the entrepreneurs, but not just any entrepreneurs, the multi passionate creatives. So you might be a multi passionate creative if you've watched Emily Wapnick's TED Talk on being multi potentialite and understanding that some of us don't just have one true calling. And that's not only okay, that's awesome. And you said, hey, that sounds like me. If you've been referred to as a serial entrepreneur, if you've had a slash career because how can I choose? If you are a polymath and you're like Da Vinci, yeah, he knew what it was, right?
Yes.
Those are my people. It's a combination of being the givers and the nurturers, but also the creatives, so that you tend to have a lot of clutter in your life. There's a lot going on, and a lot of times it's because you brought it in. I don't want to victim blame, but I'm just saying, you had all the ideas and you're just so excited, and then it becomes overwhelming. And I'm here to lend a hand and kind of process through it all, calm the storm, as one of my clients said. So that's what I do, and I love it because I too am a multi-passionate, and I get being so excited about all the things, but understanding we can't do all the things all at the same time, because
Is
that's
this
going to lead
more,
to burn.
no, you're right. And is it more mental decluttering or actual physical decluttering?
Lisa, I love that you asked that question. That's such a good question. There is physical decluttering, and that's actually how I started in this career. After being a caregiver and after understanding the survival mode, I started as a professional organizer, and we would declutter physical spaces. So always tend to those. That does matter because it affects and reflects, your internal. But I would say that now, as a productivity strategist, it is way more the internal. It is all the ideas, all the thoughts, all the to-dos, the obligations, the things that come up that keep you from sleeping, keep you from focusing properly, all of that. So yeah, I would say it probably leans more toward the mental side, but it's the combination.
Right. So if I've got this to-do list that's 5 miles long and I wish I had two more wives around the house to pick up the slack, and I know I've got a load of laundry in the dryer, and that's everyone else's reminder as well.
Yep.
And so, how does working with you help me to break down my to-do list?
Well, for starters, and I do have a framework for this that you can actually listen to on my podcast, a 4-step framework. We go to that word that you used right in the beginning of our conversation, simplicity, right? There is bound to be on that long list that feels like it has the Harry Potter extension charm on it, because you're like, wait a minute, I keep chipping away and yet it's larger. What? There's a reason for that, and we're going to get to the root of that. That's number one. Number two, we're going to learn how you work best so that you're working essentially smarter, not harder, right? And that's going to make a big difference. We're going to, after we figure out all those things about you and how you work best, after we remove what really doesn't belong there in the first place, then we will apply all of those classic productivity techniques as long as they apply to you. Like, there are some people I work with where batch processing that you hear all the time, because it's the greatest thing, because it's awesome. It can actually be anxiety inducing in some people. So we have to find a different technique. That's how it helps, is that we start to customize in a way where it's not like trying those existing systems out there, but rather creating one that's meant for you, that like feels I mean, dare I use the word easy? We second guess that because we're like, wait a minute, why are things so calm? No, believe me, life will come along and it will fill in and give you the not calm. But there are systems you can put in place that make so much sense for you that it just feels right and it automates, and then you can much better deal with all the other things that come at you.
And you said something about batch something. I don't know that term.
So that's the idea of doing similar things at one time. Like, let's say you're going to schedule a bunch of podcast guests and you do that together. Or, like, I like to record my podcast, on Thursday. So Thursday's kind of the batch day for podcasting. And sometimes that can work, but sometimes it can feel like that's a lot. So how do we simplify it, split it up? How do we come up with a different way to apply efficiency, right, to what you need to do in a way that feels good for you?
Oh, okay. So I can't sleep because I didn't get all my things done, and I'm nervous about work, and I can't get everything done at work either because I missed a day or something. What are you going to tell me to do?
Well, the first step, and this is something you can do right now if you are feeling overwhelmed, probably because that's life, right? And it's something that you will do repeatedly, is to declutter your mind by doing a mind sweep. According to David Allen, Getting Things Done, he calls it a mind sweep. Some people call it a brain dump. I have something called the focus file, which is a worksheet that is a prompt for you to take everything that has your attention and get it out into a safe place. A notebook, writing it is really the best way. But if you are sitting in a car and you're like, I want to try this right now because there's too much in my brain and I'm full, can I be excused? You could use your phone and put it on notes. It doesn't matter where, so long as you capture it and you get it from your brain out into that safe space. And this is the most important tip to take away with this. What I just told you to do is not your to-do list. It is your to-choose list.
Brilliant. And I just took notes and I wrote the F file, so it could be an F it file too. Your brain
Nice.
dump could be.
It totally could, because you get it out and then you're like, oh my God,
It's a
F it.
bucket list that starts with the letter F.
It rhymes with bucket. So, yeah, exactly. It's your to choose list. And you may choose, after you have it all out there, to not do anything with a lot of it, to leave it there, to pull out a few select things that go into a calendar. Now you start to process it and you go through steps, which I take you through, to figure out what to do with it and to not feel so overwhelmed. But yeah, first step that you can do today, with or without my help, does not matter, is get the stuff out of your brain. David Allen says our brains are for having the ideas, not holding them. And
Ooh, I like that.
I love that, because yeah, we want to be creative and we want to live our lives fully. And if we're distracted by all the to-dos and all the didn't do's and all the want to do's but can't do's,
The should have done, the could have done, the might have done, the didn't do.
exactly.
Yes, that is exactly right. And I just think we're not made to, we're too busy. We have all these windows open on our computers, on our phones, in our heads, and we can't possibly do it all. And one of the things is, when I'm coaching someone, one of the things I say is, is there anything you can let go of?
Mm-hmm.
Such as, what if you're on two different, communities, or what am I trying to say? When you're on, when you're serving on a board or something.
Oh, right. Your volunteer work, that sort of thing. And
So if you're serving on a board or you're doing volunteer work that just does not align with you that well, and your heart isn't in it, and you feel bad, but I said yes. And something I've told friends is, let it out, because somebody else might really want that spot that you're holding. And you're not even joyous, and you're thinking you're helping, but you're really not.
exactly. And you're talking about so many really important elements to being productive in that, like, energy management comes from, I love the phrase, if it's not a hell yes, then it needs to be a hell no, because, in that middle ground where it's an obligation, what that leads to. That leads to you not showing up your best. maybe not doing your best work. And then sometimes that can lead to having to do the work again, which is decidedly not productive. It leads to a drain on you as opposed to energy giving, it's energy draining. And then, I mean, ultimately it can lead to resentment. And that's, if you think about it, then you're like, oh, I have to go to the stupid meeting to do the stupid things, and it's completely understandable because, and I like the word that you used, it doesn't align. There's something missing there, and honoring that and saying, this is not for me. To your point, it could very much be for someone else. Bless and
Right.
release and find the thing that
Yes.
is for you.
I just say, this isn't a good fit for me, but I'll reach out to a few friends. Then I don't feel so bad for backing out. Is and I've done a
Exactly.
lot of service and I still do a lot, but I've learned that over the years. It just you can't do it all. And yeah, you can't have it all. Where would you put it?
Exactly.
Are you serving more females then? I'm thinking, I just feel like it's such a mom thing to be so overwhelmed and busy and think we have to do it all.
It's funny. I do attract that. I do attract the caregivers and the mamas, but I also work with the men caregivers, the dads. It's kind of a mix, and I delight in that because it's less about how we identify in terms of our gender and more in how we identify in terms of our roles and our intent. I have dads who want to be more present in their children's lives and want to have a shift where it's less of an inclination to work all the time. And then I do have moms, of course, who are juggling all of the things. That's a pretty natural tendency that we have. And yeah, exploring what we can let go of. It's not even letting go of or getting rid of. I like to call it, this whole decluttering concept, as making space for what matters. And guess what? You matter. So you get to make space for you,
I like that. And then you're much better for your family. And you're much
for
happier when you
everyone.
take that girlfriend's day. How
Yeah.
many times have you had a lunch with a buddy? Why did it take us so long to get together? Every
Yeah.
time. You
Yep.
never regret that lunch with a buddy. I mean,
Mm,
unless you spilled on your favorite shirt. That would suck. But making time for you makes you better for the rest.
yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yep.
So, who is on your podcast? Give me a few of the ideas of what people can hear when they hop on over there.
Oh my goodness. So we do have a lot of foundational episodes about, the grief and the trauma, the decluttering, the systems, and also like tools and techniques and things like that. And then there's also fabulous people like a business humorist by the name of Lisa David Olson,
What?
who
I'm going to listen. Is that
I
number
know. Doesn't that
48?
sound amazing? It is number 48. There's also, oh my goodness, I've had a Broadway star talking about caregiving. I have had you know, Eric Fisher of the Beyond the To-Do List, who is someone that I listened to
Ooh.
in the very beginning of my career as a productivity strategist. He was on my podcast talking about seasonal planning. We talk a lot about multi-passionate life, and we dip into like neurodivergence because there tends to be a lot of overlap. And it's just
Mhm.
this idea of saying, can we redefine productivity, look at things differently? You are going to hear conversations about simplifying life and about the practical systems. So it's kind of that that middle ground. I'm a hybrid. I'm always a hybrid, right? A little of this, a little of that. So you're going to hear things about what's real life, what's going on, what are the stories, what are the challenges, and then also what do we do with it. So every episode, no matter what the topic is, will start with the topic and why it matters to us, and then what we can do when we finish listening and we step into our lives again.
Ooh, so you've got the call to action in there as well. We aren't
Absolutely.
just eavesdropping. We are going to apply what we hear. I love it.
Yes, and very simply too, because the smallest steps are the most potent, and that is a lesson that I want everyone to take to heart, because it always feels like we need to do the big things to make the big stuff happen, but not so.
Nice. Well, as a multi-passionate, tell me all the things you like to do. I know there's some guitar in there, there's podcasting, there's
You're
I
right.
think there was hiking. Give me your passions.
Okay. So I mean, really, the biggest ones is okay. I've got cats. I've got reading. I've got music is a big one, and then it's different types of music. So I suppose that's a big part of it. I do love the podcasting. I love to speak, so I am a speaker, and I will facilitate workshops as well. I'm lucky in that the kind of coaching that I do encompasses a lot of the things that I love, where I can, speak and teach and guide and mentor. I'm involved with the local library. I do volunteer on that board, but that is 100% aligned with my heart. I'm a big, big bibliophile. Yeah, and you're right. The guitar is something that is probably the biggest thing right now in terms of music for me in terms of skill development. I love learning new things. I'm a lifelong learner. That's another thing my clients and I tend to have in common. So I'm teaching myself acoustic guitar. I'm also
Mm,
in a band with my family. So that's the singing part of the equation. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I love, and I think the biggest
fantastic.
thing is just learning new stuff
Right.
and exploring what's next, because there's a whole big world out there, and I'm
Yes.
not done yet.
No, heck no. You're just scratching the surface. I love that
Mhm.
idea, especially incorporating music into what we do. It
Mm,
really uses a different part of the brain. So people
yeah.
that do crossword puzzles, that's a great part of your brain. People
Hmm.
that love math, love music, all those things, trying art, finger
Yep.
painting with your feet. Come on, let's try it. Juggling, jello, whatever it is, try something new and use that other piece of your brain because it really keeps you curious and keeps you young.
Yeah, and it freshens up your brain too, in that, you've stepped away. You know how it is. You go for a walk or you do something fun and you come back and you are solving the problems and you're being more productive than ever. It's absolutely good
Love
advice.
that. You're right. We charge our phones better than we charge our own selves.
Sing it, sister.
I know. If we could see it on our foreheads, battery low. That's my cell phone voice, apparently. Battery low.
Battery low.
All right. Let me know if there is a dare or a prank you have either done or had done to ya.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. And as I've mentioned to you in the past, my humor tends to be either sarcasm or just like absurdity, right? So, my roommate from college, Heather, I'm giving her a shout out. This is a sanctioned story, just so we're clear. So, she will verify this.
Hey, Heather.
She is a huge metal, hard rock kind of fan, right? And so back in the day when we were at Shopping Town Mall in Syracuse, New York, and we were both working there, I'm going to date myself, but I've already done that with the Lisa Cult Jam thing. So why not keep it rolling? New Kids on the Block
Ooh, baby.
was huge. And
Yes.
they were promoting them probably at the, FYE or whatever it was, and had these big cardboard cutouts in the mall. And Heather was as salty as she could possibly be about the situation, grumbling about them constantly. And I came up with the idea to go down to the mall very early before our shifts and to sneak past the security guards and take pictures of her strangling the cardboard
Ah!
cutouts. And I have picture proof, which I can offer you. And
Lovely.
yeah,
I would love
so,
that.
and we just, oh man, it's something that we laugh about so hard. And then, of course, we have to share the picture. It's kind of like the
Yes.
Christmas fruitcake, except that it's the picture of
I
her taking down
yes.
one of the new kids on the block.
Do we know which
And
one?
it's really funny. I don't know which one it is. And so I have to find that out and I will get back to you. So message
Pretty
me.
sure that needs to go on Instagram and somebody will let you know who that was.
You
And
know what? You are
yeah.
absolutely right. I'm going to put it in my stories
Yeah.
and I will keep you posted.
I mean, I don't think you're running for political office, so anything you did in the past is fine.
I feel like that would get me votes, no?
You got my vote, girl.
I'd vote for me.
I know. I'd vote for me. There's your platform.
I'd
There's your
vote for me.
signage.
Perfect.
A vote for me is a vote for me because I'm voting for me. Okay, what is your family band name?
Oh my gosh. So we've gone around the way, but I think the latest iteration that we've agreed to is take cover.
Ooh, we're doing some cover tunes. Is that right?
Yes, yes, we are.
Nice. Okay. That's great. Okay. Tell people how they can find you if they want the podcast of Positively Living or your work as a productivity strategist.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. You can find like all the places that I'm located through the hub of my website, positivelyproductive.com. You're listening to an awesome sauce podcast right now, so you can just like pop on over to Positively Living, find me there. I'd be honored. And if you want to catch that picture of Heather and all the other ridiculously stupid things that I do because laughter equals stress management, I truly believe that, on Instagram, that would be positively_Lisa. And I'd love it if you'd come play with me there.
Nice. I love that. All right. Well, it has been an honor to speak with you today, Lisa Zawrotny, and I just hope that you remember that we can only be strangers once, and I beg that you will stay weird. Good?
Oh my goodness, yes. I'm stranger than you can imagine, and I've adored being connected with you. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Same Z's girl. Thank you.